Hi! After watching the video, click the link in the description to download the program.
If you take an orange and you squeeze it, what comes out? Well, the obvious answer is orange juice. Why? Because the only thing that could ever come out is what's on the inside. And so the question from there becomes, what happens when life squeezes you? What happens where you're in a pinch, you're in a tight spot, and the stress comes? What happens to you when you get squeezed? Nothing can come out of you except for what's on the inside. You'll recognize this, that we have an external posture and we have an internal posture. An external posture, some people say, oh, I want to be famous and I want to be special and I want to get attention. So you only want that because there's something inside of you that feels like it's not enough. And so we're trying to fill ourselves up. And a lot of people, their cup is like a little bit empty, where they're trying to fill themselves up from the outside world with approval, control, security. They want something to fill themselves up because there's an emptiness on the inside. And so you've really got to strengthen that internal core. You got to strengthen your identity. You got to strengthen what's on the inside, because you are going to be squeezed. And all of us have had some bad stuff inside of us. And by bad, I don't really mean bad like you're a bad person or there's bad stuff. It's just stuff that's not useful. It's not what's right and what's wrong, because what's right for one person might not be right for somebody else. And it's about what's useful. And sometimes we have emotions, or we have points of view about ourselves or others, or judgments. That's just not useful. And so we need to look at it in terms of not making ourselves wrong, but is that useful? And so you've really got to take some time every day to focus on your heart, your energy, your story, your presence, and you've got to break those energetic bonds to the past version of yourself, who you were yesterday. You're bonded to that. You're bringing up stories and you're talking about what happened yesterday. But what makes us have the ability to use that information and have wisdom from it is when we break the emotional charge. What is the lesson? How do we integrate the lesson into our life in a way that's useful? And then once you've lived it, and you've lived with that distinction, and you refine it, and then you get to share the learning. And the more people you share the learning with, that experience that you had, it's like Napoleon Hill said, every adversity has the seed of an opportunity. There's an opportunity for growth and awesomeness in every seed of adversity, but it's just a seed. We gotta water that seed. We gotta put sunlight. We gotta shine light on that seed, shine the light of our awareness. We need to be conscious of the learning, but not self-conscious and make it about ourselves. And we think, how do we actually integrate this learning into our future self, into that person as they go part, throughout this year, through this decade, through the rest of their life. And then as we get to practice that way of thinking, practice that way of being, practice that way of communicating, we refine that lesson, and then you share that lesson. And that's how, to come full circle with what Napoleon had said, that's how there's this beautiful opportunity in that adversity, where now each person you share that with, you get to grow through it, and you get to share that learning. And as you contribute that learning to each individual beyond yourself, you get to have impact. And oh my God, it's like when you have impact and you know that because that happened to you, you've grown through it, you've become stronger, and now you contribute. And each person that you contribute to, that energy, that gratitude comes back to you. It's like an amazing force that comes back to you, and people start saying, wow, because you said that, because you went through all that, you changed my life. You gave my life meaning, you gave me clarity. And as that energy comes back to you, you get to have this amazing feeling that money can't buy. And some of you are in jobs where you're like, you know what, it doesn't matter. Some of you are looking at your diet plan you've already cheated on this year, and you're like, you know what? It doesn't matter if I have that bite. Some people eat the burger and they're just reinforcing patterns of shame and guilt, and they're looking for something on the outside. They're looking to create an experience on the outside to meet a neurochemical need, an addiction for that shame, that anger. And some people are just angry and there's nothing to be angry about. They will create an experience, or they'll get into a bad situation just so they can feed that addiction for anger. They're addicted to it, and they need to, as Joe Dispenza would say, break the habit of being themselves and communicate with themselves in a different way by breaking those bonds.